310,025 gold. This is how much gold value we have on our auction house for this episode of Vendor Gold. Let us begin. For this episode of Vendor Gold, I decided to make my way over towards the Eastern Plague Lands to start with. I decided to finish off the last of the Eastern Kingdoms, and with the Eastern Plague Lands, I managed to find a few different types of recipes. I remember a few recipes a while back, and this was really handy in order to actually get a hold of. So therefore, I was able to actually bring out a decent amount of gold overall. Along with that, I made my way over towards the Ghost Lands, and this one came out as a bit of a bust, and I really didn't like this one, so I just moved my way over towards the Isle of 𝐸𝐴𝐻. Isle of 𝐸𝐸𝐻, unfortunately, did come in as a bust once again. This was more in part of this being a main questing hub for TBC, and I knew I was taking my chances with it, but in order to finish off the Eastern Kingdoms, I wanted to finish the Isle of 𝐸𝐸𝐻. However, when I made my way over towards the last zone that I needed to actually farm up for the Eastern Kingdoms was the Western Plague Lands. All the other different types of zones in the Eastern Kingdoms do not have any NPCs for me to actually get a hold of, more in part as those are horde based and I am alliance, so I am not able to interact with those vendors. However, in the Western Plague Lands, this came out as a bust once again, but I did also manage to pick up quite a decent amount of tailoring and leatherworking supplies when I came through here. I'm making this quite of a habit of just picking up all of these different types of supply vendors for the professions, and this is actually increasing my gold overall just as and when. Along with that, I then started making my way over towards Kalimdor, because Kalimdor is one of the zones that I haven't actually completed yet, and yes, I am going to pretty much everywhere when it comes towards farming up all of these different types of vendors for Vendor Gold and marking out exactly where they actually are. This is so I actually can come back to this at a later date and farm this up for my professions. I figured this would be a nice little bonus for myself, and then I can actually give them on to you. However, alongside that, I then made my way over to Tanaris as I took the portal from Stormwind to the Caverns of Time. This is just an easy portal in order to get to Kalimdor, and thus I started with Tanaris. Tanaris, obviously, we've already been to Gadgetzan. I picked up and restocked all of those different types of recipes that we gathered, along with the transmute of Arcanite bars, because we know those sell for alchemists and it brings in quite a lot of gold overall, so it was nice to top those up. After that, I then made my way over towards Un'Goro Crater. Un'Goro Crater actually did have quite a decent amount of recipes, but it took quite a while in order to find the vendor. Along with that, I am able to sell those on the auction house for a decent chunk of gold, as a lot of people neglect these types of zones, hence why we're going to literally every zone to pick up all of these different types of recipes. If people aren't actually actively farming them, yet they are still needed for your professions or completing said professions for recipes, then people are going to definitely buy them, and this is working out so far overall. Now in total for this week, I managed to get a gold earned of 8,064 gold, along with an auction house value of 310,025 gold. The total time in order to actually farm this was around about 50 minutes, and the gold spent for this week is 86 gold. In total, for the last 6 weeks of Vendor Gold, I managed to actually get a total of 24,540 gold earned, along with a auction house value total of 1,356,447. Obviously, this is compounding over time. However, our current value is obviously 310,000, and our total time that we've actually spent is 256 minutes, or 4 hours and 16 minutes. Our total gold spent overall is around about 3,894 gold, and that's pretty dang good for the 10,000 gold that we actually started with. Along with that, our overall ROI for this currently over this last 6 weeks is 630% increase, so that's pretty dang good overall. And our total gold earned for this week is 24,540 gold, and our current bag value is 27,783 gold. I've also updated the Vendor Gold spreadsheet along with my TSM profile, which you can find on the Patreon if you want to check out for any additional information about this series. Other than that, guys, have a wonderful rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.